Well, good afternoon and welcome to Music at the Mint, brought to you by the Jazz Foundation of America in conjunction with the Jazz Museum right here in downtown New Orleans. How's everybody doing? Good? All right, great. That's right. It's air conditioned in here. Well, listen, you're going to be doing even better very soon because I've got the great Don Vappie with his trio. Yeah? You got his fan club here? Well, want to tell you how great it is to have a studio audience today, and we want to thank our partners that help us stream this entertainment worldwide, and we're talking about the Louisiana Music Factory and the Offbeat Publications present these on their Facebook page every week. So, I'm Jason Patterson, by the way, and I'm from the the Snug Harbor Jazz Bistro right down the road here. And they asked me to testify about how great the Jazz Foundation of America is. You know, they have helped us so many ways here in New Orleans and in South Louisiana and New York. And, you know, wherever musicians need some help, they're there. And they kind of stay behind the scenes, and people really don't know how much they do. But I'm here to tell you that we've had some hard times here. Musicians have had it tough, you know, because they don't have a lot of safety nets, and we've had a couple of serious hurricanes, and we've had this thing called a pandemic that doesn't seem to go away. And so the Jazz Foundation of America has helped out with medical services, housing services, legal services, and getting engagements for these folks like the one today. So if you have a minute when you're in front of your computer, if you want to get up on jazzfoundation.org and take a visit, and if you have some spare change, make a donation. We'd appreciate that so we can do even more for our great New Orleans musicians. What do you think? Yeah. Think we can do that? Right. Hey, Bonnie. So I can't say enough about Don, but I'll try to keep it short. You know, Don has been with us for so many years. He's from a musical family all the way back to the Josephs and trickled down from there. He's plays at all the great clubs like Snug Harbor next Sunday. He's got a great trio today, so let's bring him out. Give it up for Alonzo Bowens on the saxophone. Alonzo. We just happen to have Richard Moten on the bass, the gentleman of jazz. And what are we doing? We're playing banjo. You're going to be playing some guitar today, Don? That's enough. Okay, he's master of the banjo, as has been seen on many acclaimed records and such. So please give it up for Don Vappie.
Thank you, Jason. I only brought my banjo today because, well, y'all, those of you who've known me for a long time, like 50 years, know I played bass, but then Richard got a bass and I gave it up. No, I still play, but Richard, that's my man, that's my cousin. His mama taught me piano. I don't know if y'all knew that, which I didn't keep, but I remember. I brought the banjo because in September, I'm being inducted into the Banjo Hall of Fame. And just in 21, I got the Steve Martin Banjo Prize. So, thank you. Yeah. And I got all these accolades for the banjo. I was like, damn, now I gotta practice. Anyway, we're gonna start off with a little standard called one of my favorite bands from the late 20s, the Sam Morgan Band, a little Bogalusa strut. That's me. right, so I'm gonna do a couple of songs from an album I did before the pandemic. It was called The Blue Book of Storyville, and you know, this is like just typical. If I did a biography, an autobiography, every time something like really good would happen, something really bad would happen. So it's like I put out 2 albums and Katrina hit, right? So, I mean, but the albums are still here, and with Katrina's in the past. Point is, this album was the top jazz album of 2020 in the Times of London. And we couldn't tour because of the pandemic. So I only had my first tour with the band 3 years after we recorded it, and I got back Saturday. We've been in the UK all the last few weeks. It's been really nice, and if the guys are watching, I'm ready for the coffee. We brought our own coffee on the road. I mean, we were traveling in a car, so we had a little propane tank, you know, and a little burner at the top, and our 9 barista espresso maker with the special beans, and we took turns grinding them. I mean, it's like wow, you know? We like tripping on coffee, right? Plus, they treated me, one of my favorite shows from the UK is Morse. I don't know if anybody's into BBC stuff, but Morse is a detective, and John Thaw played Morse. He died. But Morse would always go to a pub when he was trying to work out the murder thing, you know? Well, they brought me to one of the pubs that filmed Morse, and I was so excited, man. We went to the Trout, and I had a bitter, you know, and sat there and played Morse. Oh, Lewis! You know? So, anyway, here's a song from the album called I Would If I Could. Now if I could, you know I would hold you every night. If I could, you know I would treat you oh so right. Now if that was the status quo, oh baby, you know, you get good loving like you should. I would if I could. Now if I could, you know I would hold you really tight. If I could, you know I would live my dream tonight. Oh baby, you thrill me so. Yeah, you know, romance all day, that's what I say. I would if I could. Now if I could, you know I would hold you really tight. If I could, you know I would live my dream tonight. Oh baby, you thrill me so. Oh yeah, you know, romance all day, that's what I say. I would if I could. Now if I could, you know I would hold you really tight. If I could, you know I would live my dream tonight. Oh baby, you thrill me so. Oh yeah, you know. Romance all day, that's what I say. I would if I could. Now if I could, you know I would hold you really tight. If I could, you know I would live my dream tonight. Oh baby, you thrill me so. Oh yeah, you know. Romance all day, that's what I say. I would if I could. I would if I could. I would if I could. Thank you. That was I Would If I Could. That's one of my compositions, actually. I wanted to write, do an album that celebrated the 300 years of New Orleans, you know, the anniversary. I was late. I wasn't finished, so I said, why rush it, you know? It's been 300 years, be 301. So that was one of the songs. So, in fact, one of the point of it was that I was going to write about events in history or experiences I've had growing up in New Orleans, and just, you know, things that touched me. And one of them was, I'll go to an experience that I read about. It wasn't an experience, I'm sorry. Let me clarify this for sure. This was not an experience of mine. This is called The Blue Book of Storyville. It's the title track of the album, and I'm sure all of you probably know what the Blue Book was, right? Only one person? One person admitted it. Okay. And none of the men admitted it, right? Well, for those of you who don't know, the Blue Book was a book that was published during the time of Storyville. It listed all of the brothels and all of the women who worked in all of the brothels. It's kind of like a catalog, you know, for who knew Amazon was going to happen way back then? They just didn't have the mail order part of it together. Anyway, it's funny because Gwen Tompkins interviewed me when the album came out, and it got that, you know, the rating in the Times. And she said, before the interview, she brought me a reprint of the Blue Book. And she says, yeah, look at it. You know, we're going to have the interview in about 5 minutes. And I sat there and I'm thumbing through the book. And actually, I was looking to see if any of my relatives were listed. But it's real. I'm kind of making fun of it, but you know, when I thought about it before I wrote the song, this song just kind of came to me because I thought about everything about it. Like, it's probably not the greatest situation in the world for the women, but then in some ways it was quite empowering for them, and because all these businesses were run by women. And looking back in the census around here, there were a lot of powerful women in New Orleans that owned businesses despite the racial segregation and everything. So it's an interesting thing if you ever want to, like read about it. But I'm just going to give you a little synopsis in my song. Look at that, bro. I learned me some new words in England. Synopsis. It's funny, when I called home, my wife, I said, I got everything. She says, you work out your ride from the airport? Yeah, it's all sorted. Yeah, that's what they say in the UK. It's sorted, And she says, oh, Lord, you only been there 2 weeks. Brilliant. Yeah. What are we playing? Blue Book. That's been going on longer than 2 weeks, too. Well, it happened in the district. Now it's all history, where men from all around got their kicks. Plenty pretty women, a catalog for sinning. Browse the pages, take your pick. All shapes and sizes, full of surprises, there for every man's desire. All on display, like prepaid foreplay. Love for sale, love for hire. Get hooked on the book and book your hook. It's the Blue Book of Storyville. Now when all is said and done, all have had their fun. The morning sun comes creeping in. A few hours go by, la jolie fille lets out a sigh. Everything begins again. You see, it happened in the district. Now it's all history, where men from all around got their kicks. Plenty pretty women, a catalog for sinning. Browse the pages, take your pick. Get hooked on the book and book your hook. It's the Blue Book of Storyville. Now when all is said and done, all have had their fun. The morning sun comes creeping in. A few hours go by, la jolie fille lets out a sigh. everything begins again. See, it happened in the district, now it's all history, where men from all around got their kicks. Plenty pretty women, catalog for sinning. Browse the pages, take your pick. Get hooked on the book and book your hook. It's the Blue Book of Storyville. Get hooked on the book, book your hook. It's the Blue Book of Storyville. Get hooked on the book and book your hook. It's the Blue Book of Storyville. All right, so that was the title track, Blue Book of Storyville. So we're going to move completely away from that kind of thing and go to an event, an experience I had as a child. I must have been 5 years old. I was old enough to remember. I don't know. I'm weird. I feel like I remember having the measles when I was 3. Yeah, I remember a lot of stuff. The mind is a terrible thing. As Eddie Murphy said that, I laughed a lot, because you know, it was used to be an advertisement for black colleges. Mind's a terrible thing to waste. And remember that? And Eddie Murphy came on one night on Saturday Night Live and says, "Mind is a terrible thing." And he stopped. Anyway, speaking of mind, my mind is whatever it is. I remember this event because my grandparents lived on Coliseum Street between Valence and Bordeaux. And in fact, almost right across the street from that little church that was there. What's that, like Starlight Church or something? I can't remember the name. Anyway, the ice cream truck would pass and play this song. It'd be like, you see why I remembered it? 'Cause I even remember how long the pause was. Because I'm thinking, 5 years old, I'm thinking, that's not in time. You know? So I'm already priming myself to be a pain in the butt for rhythm sections the rest of my life. So anyway, I didn't know what the name of that song was back then. All I knew was it meant I could get a dreamsicle. You remember dreamsicles, huh? See that? See, kids don't have these pleasures no more. All y'all got is phones. You can't taste no phone. You can look at a dreamsicle all you want, but you ain't never gonna taste it till you go outside. That's right. So anyway, it was a long time later, like I must have been in my late 30s, and I was playing a gig with some musicians that were like at least twice my age, which meant if I was 35, everybody was over 70. And I got another song that goes with that scenario. But the point of this story is we started playing that song. I had never heard of that song. I mean, I knew it, so I figured out how to hear it. I played it with them. And I was like, what's the name of that song? You know, and I think it was Willie Humphrey said, it's called Red Wing. And then it suddenly, I saw it in my mind's eye, I saw the little logo on the truck. It was Red Wing ice cream. So, yeah, isn't that something? That must be what hypnotists do to you when you can't remember. Like, Well, I saw this person. I don't know what they look like. Wait, come here a minute. Watch this thing here, you know. You can get that information out of your mind. Your mind is really powerful. One day we'll figure out how to use it for good. It'll be like Superman. Super brain. That's what we need, a hero. Super brain. Should he have a cape or a calculator? Okay, we're gonna. This is another song I composed because growing up in New Orleans, who was it? Kalamu, I think, said one time, we got more white-looking black people than anywhere in the world. So I was in about 3 bands at one point, and each band I think one was mostly like Latino people, and then one was like a black group, and one was mostly a white group. And this lady said, "Don, you're like a chameleon. You fit with everyone." That was funny to me, but I meant, because even back, I grew up in a time when you had to put your race on a form. So even in the 60s, when I would see race, I'd put like Preakness or Kentucky Derby or Indy 500. I would put something like that when they had race. And the part where it says sex, I'd say, sure. So. I grew up fast. Young ladies looking at me laughing. I'm just messing with you. My wife's here somewhere, I think. I'm just gonna assume she's somewhere. Oh, there you are. Yeah, there she is. I knew good choice. I just assumed. Right. I can't tell you what everybody calls me because I'm her. I proudly wear the title. But this is a song I wrote, and all that stuff I just talked about. I call this The Color of Creole. So, because actually my wife is a historian, and she was reading about there's a lot of really dark-skinned people that prefer the term Creole because it more correctly identifies them culturally. But in our society, at one point we were using that term to say, oh, you're trying to escape being black, and you trying to pass for white, and all those kind of stupid things. Well, that's the kind of dumb stuff that racism brings about. So I can tell you, I just got back from the UK, and I went to Wales, and they taught me how to say some Welsh things, and it was just so much fun being with people that are like different, and talking to them and having fun and learning things. And when you're interested and they're interested in you and you're interested in them, it does make us stronger. It really does. So, on behalf of my Welsh friends out there, Run Cari Di, I love you. I also love Ruan Cari Penderyn. That's a really good Welsh whiskey. In fact, in Danish you would say Jeg elsker di, or Jeg elsker Penderyn. I love, you get it? Okay. So this song is Color of Creole. Ready? We'll try this? Tell me. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, thank you. All right. Bruh, you want to play? Bruh, excuse me, that's a very New Orleans. Bruh, you want to play this? I was teaching some Welsh people how to speak New Orleans. It wasn't that easy. But I did catch a couple, you know, I guess they were lovers or were lovers, were actually really having a big knockdown, drag out, verbal argument as I got out the car.
What were they saying?
It sounded like it was in English. You, blank, 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 blank. Here's a tune done by Louis Armstrong's clarinet player. Edmund Hall, thank you. Couldn't get Edmund Hall in my head. He did this tune. You hardly ever hear it. It's a really great song, and Alonzo, you know, getting into the clarinet has really gotten attracted to Edmund Hall's sound. So he learned this tune. It's called Dardanella. And just, you know, it's just a good time for me to tell you how versatile New Orleans musicians are. There's a whole lot of cultures that came in and made the gumbo here, which I think musicians from here can actually learn, can fit in with bands anywhere. I really believe that. So, for instance, I had my funk band period and all that, and you know, my afro and all, and I still like to do all that. My wife won't let me grow my afro back. But then, like her friends say, you should be happy he has hair. But I wanted to say that because Alonzo, we all grew up together. Richard's my cousin, Alonzo, we grew up. So he knew my other cousins on Apple Street. Anyway, Alonzo's got a Grammy for that arrangement, right? He did an arrangement, the album with Dr. John. So. And he's also written some music that's been featured on NCIS New Orleans, and he's been on there, I've been on there, we've all been on NCIS New Orleans in our capacities. And every now and then, we get out our amplifiers and telecasters and Purple Rain, you know, we start going there and stuff. So I just wanted to say that, because, you know, banjo is like, it's the instrument that my generation hated. Black folks hated it because it was a reminder of Jim Crow and Uncle Tom and all that stuff. But you know, this is a descendant of the African Goni or the Halam. And I thought, you know, how could a people let another people make them learn to hate something that belonged to them? So I started playing it, and hopefully I helped out. Had a great time playing with some great musicians from Mali and Senegal. It was just really wonderful. So, you know, just a little stuff you won't hear in Oklahoma City if you don't come to the Banjo Hall of Fame thing, where they're going to tell you all this nice stuff about me. So I'm too old to wait for people to talk about me. I'm telling you about it myself. That's what James Brown said. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Just open up the door. I get it myself. That's what he said, right? All right. Y'all want to hit it? No. All right, Dardanella. He's the Lone Ranger, the Masked Marauder. Yeah, you remember Masked Marauder from Bugs Bunny? Nobody. We just crazy, see? He was like, the horse wouldn't stop, right? He's like, whoa, horse, come on, please, whoa, horse. That was the Masked Marauder on Bugs Bunny. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we only got this like 6 minutes. So, the Onions, really? Okay. This is a song I learned, Les Oignons. So y'all gotta sing Oui Madame and No Madame. Oui Madame is first, No Madame is second. I'm not gonna tell you what the question is. I'm kidding. The question, it's actually a children's song, I'm told. And I learned it from Danny Bark and Albert Nicholas, Pops Foster, that record, you know. And I was in New York after Katrina, and the taxi is taking me over to Jazz at Lincoln Center. And for some reason, I just started singing it. And the taxi driver was from Haiti, and he says, hey, how do you know that song? I said, well, I'm from New Orleans, man. He said, no, but that's a Haitian song. I said, that's what I said. I'm from New Orleans. So, but he told me all the children, they still sing it. So, at least as of 2005 or 6, they're still singing that song. So I would imagine they still are. And les oignons, les oignons, les oignons, tout le bon marché. C'est l'ici, c'est l'ici. Ma grand-mère tournait les deux. Les oignons, les oignons, les oignons, tout le bon marché. C'est l'ici, c'est l'ici. Ma grand-mère tournait les deux. Pour coucher, faut pas mentir. Bercala tout chaud, Bercala tout chaud. Bercala, Bercala, Bercala tout chaud. Pour coucher, faut pas mentir. Bercala tout chaud, Bercala tout chaud. Bercala, Bercala, Bercala tout chaud. Les oignons, les oignons, les oignons, tout le bon marché. C'est l'ici, c'est l'ici. Ma grand-mère tournait les doux. Oh, les oignons, les oignons, les oignons, tout le bon marché. C'est l'ici, c'est l'ici. Ma grand-mère tournait les deux. Pour coucher, faut pas mentir. Bercala tout chaud. I'm gonna sing it in English next time. Bercala tout chaud. Bercala, Bercala, Bercala tout chaud. You gonna go to sleep? You're not lying to me. All right. Bekala tu show. Bekala tu show. Bekala, bekala, bekala tu show. Et là-bas, et là-bas. My wife's sick of me singing this song. That's why I'm laughing. Et là-bas, yeah, I busted you. Et là-bas, et là-bas, chérie. Comment ça va? Now, while I'm playing this, I'd like to introduce the band to you because I think we're getting close, right? So on clarinet, saxophone, Alonzo Bowens. On the bass, Richard Moten. On banjo and vocals, my name's Don Vappie. Thank you so much. So we're going to elaba out of here, all right? In three languages. Ready? Elaba. Elaba. Elaba, chérie. Comment ça va? Elaba. Run Caridi. Jij elsker ul. Elaba. Yeah. So that was I love you in Welsh and I love beer in Danish. In fact, I'll be in Denmark in October, which is very soon, so maybe some of my fans are watching. So to them, to my Danish audience out there, I har været dejligt publikum. They've been a good audience. Thank you so much for having us here today, folks. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy New Orleans. My albums are available right across the street at the Louisiana Music Factory if you want to pick one up. Oh, it's here in the lobby, right? Yep. So you don't have to even go out, so you can stay in the air conditioning and buy my albums. See?